Hi guys, welcome to my third video on finding the roots. This is our third video. So we are going to be looking at this equation. When we were doing our other previous videos, we already had our trinomial that was equal to 0. Now we have these two pieces and it is equal to -15. And it's okay, we're just going to go ahead and we are going to make it equal to 0. And how do we do that? Let's go ahead and look at the equation. We're going to go ahead and draw our line, okay? Now, I have x squared minus 8x, and this is a -15. How do I make this a 0 on this side? I've got to move this over here. So if this is -15, I'm going to say +15, and I'm going to just kind of throw my +15 over here, and that is going to be equal to 0, okay? Now, where does this 15 fit in with this? This has an x squared. 15 does not have an x squared. So we're just going to go ahead and bring our x squared down. Can 15 and -8x combine? No, they cannot, because this one has an x. So we're going to say -8x. 15 is all by itself, so we're going to put our 15 out here. So now we have our a, our b, and our c. Okay? So now we're just going to go ahead and factor like normal. Okay? So let's go ahead and identify our A, our B, and our C. So our A is 1, our B is -8, and our C is 15. Now, we are going to go ahead and do our A times our C. Our A is 1 times C, which is 15, and 1 times 15 is 15. So we have our A times our C, and we have our B. So now we're going to come over here, and we're going to figure out two numbers that multiply to equal 15, but those same two numbers have to add to be a -8. Okay? So, what are our factors of 15? 1 times 15, 3 times 5, and that's it. Okay? How can we make this into these two numbers add into a negative? Well, I know that they have to multiply to be a positive. So if they multiply to be a positive but add to a negative, that means all the numbers have to be negative. Because a negative times a negative makes a positive. A negative times a negative makes a positive. But we can add our negatives to make a negative answer. So -1 times -15 is actually -16. And -3 minus 5 is going to be -8. So here is our answer. So we know -3 times -5 gives us +15, and -3 minus 5 or plus -5 is going to be -8. Now the importance of these two numbers is that these replace our B value right here. So let's go ahead and start writing our new equation so we can get into factor by grouping. So we're going to keep our A, so we have x squared. Our new B is going to be -3x and -5x, okay? That may look like a 6 to some people, so let me fix that 5x. And then we're going to keep our C, which is +15. Now we're going to go ahead and go into factor by grouping. Okay, so I'm going to break these two down into two parts. So we have this part and this part. So we have x squared minus 3x, and we have -5x plus 15. Okay, let's go ahead and draw in our ladder. What do these two have in common? It has an x. So x squared divided by x leaves us with an x. And -3x divided by x is going to be -3. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and look at this one. I see that we have a negative right here, so go ahead and pull out that negative. I'm pulling that negative out right here. And what do these two numbers have in common? We're going to say 5. So -5 divided by -5 is going to be a +1 or an x. And 15 divided by -5 is -3. These two match, so we're on the right track. So let's go ahead and get into our final answer. So we have x minus 5. So we have x minus 5 times x minus 3. And we're going to go ahead and just set that equal to 0 because the whole point of this is to find our roots. So now that we have this, we're going to split these two into two pieces. So we're going to say x minus 5 equals 0. x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, we're going to go ahead and solve for x for both of them. And we're going to say, if it's a minus 5, we're going to pull it over here. We got to do the opposite. Plus 5 plus 5. So we're going to have x equals 5. And for this one over here, we need to pull this over here. So the opposite of minus 3 is going to be plus 3 and plus 3. And so that's going to be x equals 3. Okay, now make sure you write your final answer as a point. So if x is 5, it's going to sit in our x slot. So x, comma, so 5, comma, y, which is 0. And x is 3, comma, y, which is 0. And those are your roots, or your zeros, or your x-intercepts. Okay.